everybody. Welcome to Unmuzzled with Sarah. Ooh, I have a request from somebody that wanted Rachel, Rescueber, on the podcast. She's here. It took us a little while to get together. Presenting sponsors, you're up, then we'll get to Rachel.
Thank you to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. Tons of indoor space and a spacious yard. Canine Cruise is your one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes 5 mess-free lickable treat recipes in 2 sizes for a delightful time with your dog. Their grab-and-go pouches make perfect gifts for the dogs on your holiday list. For more, go to barkpouch.com. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet.
Thank you, sponsors. Rachel, hello. I like your hoodie.
Thank you. It's my favorite one.
Yes. Live like Rue. I always see in the Rescueber, the little Rue logos, the stickers everywhere. I'm always like, oh, that's awesome. But welcome to the podcast. I know we've been trying to get together for a bit, so I appreciate your patience. But yet, here we are.
Yay, we did it.
So I've actually known Rachel for quite a few years, but we're going to talk about a little bit about Rescueber and just, numbers, what your future looks like, what you're kind of aiming towards. But let's go back to 2019 when this all started. And I know, it was kind of this thing that you were thinking about for a bit. And then you were able to make it an official organization in 2019. So how did you get to that point?
You, ironically, were a very big part of that. So my kind of transport days started with Chris, actually, which I think you've talked about previously. And when we were trying to do diversion of pets at Chicago Animal Control, a lot of them needed rides to veterinarians to get care before they went to rescue. So that's where we started. I was spending tons of money of my own doing this, ruining my Subaru Forester with cat transports with TNR. And I was like, I can't really sustain this on my own. And several actually volunteers at CACC were like, why don't you just file for a nonprofit? So you can get donors to help pay for all the work you're doing. So I did pet sitting for a little to pay for gas. And then it kind of grew to a level of needing to be a nonprofit. And that's what we ended up doing. So it was really amazing. And I had a lot of rescue people that had gone through that process to support me in filing for that, because it's not an easy process.
Yeah, it's funny because, I always tell people like that's the easiest part. It's like applying and getting approved, because it's a little bit expensive. It's not as expensive as you would think,
Correct.
But it's actually like a really easy, quick process. And so when people ask me about it, I'm like, here's the thing. It's an easy, quick process. The things that happen after that, including like taxes and audits and accounting, I probably would not have this organization if I knew everything that went into what happens after you form a nonprofit. But I will say, and I know that you'll agree, is when you're spending so much of your own money, the only thing that you want is to keep helping people, but you need help to do it.
100%. Yeah, I could not sustain, I was literally working 3 jobs to keep that going. So I needed something so that I could grow into the amazing things that we did after 2019. There's no way I could have done that without being a nonprofit.
Yeah, and we should note, you have a full-time job too.
I do. Yeah. I'm a nurse care coordinator. A lot of us are nurses and teachers and all of that in the animal welfare world. But I do that 4 days a week. I have a little bit of flexibility with it, but yeah, I still work full time.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like and it's actually the opposite. Like the people in nonprofit world should be getting paid properly and, have enough support staff where you don't have to pay somebody part-time to help you, but we're not there yet, unfortunately. But it is, it should be everybody's goal that runs a nonprofit, but you can't do it without the support of the community and, donors and all of that. So, yeah.
And I've been trying to pay. We have a coordinator that I can talk about later, but we have a coordinator, and I've been wanting to pay her forever for what she does. And we just, luckily, she keeps doing it out of the amazingness of her heart. But there's just like no grants I've seen out there that are really for salaries at all. So
Yeah, it's hard. And I think too, when we do our audit, it's interesting because we move a lot more to programs so that people can see, okay, like my salary is part of the program because every day I am working towards our program, so it is really a hard thing. There's actually a great TED talk on this, just about how nonprofit founders and employees should be paid far more than they are, because they're literally picking up the slack from everybody else that can't help people. And a lot of that, unfortunately, is the government, communities, and we are all there doing the work that other people should be doing and not getting paid properly for it in general. Yeah. Are there organizations that are getting paid plenty? Yes. But yeah, the small mom and pops, honestly, people like Rachel, make sure you look at them when you go to do your end of year donations, because your $20, $200, $2,000 to her is far more meaningful than going to big, huge nonprofits. I think early on, and I know you still do a lot of long trips, but early on, you were doing some really extensive back-to-back long trips. How do you do that?
it's not easy. Usually I have co-pilots. They have several of my like OG co-pilots have moved on to great adventures in their life, including children, and starting their own sanctuaries or farms, which is amazing. But I really only have like 3 solid co-pilots left. So most of our transports now are limited to kind of max 10 hours. We also try and really do locally as much as possible. We just have some partnerships through friends, and then Sarah's Sanctuary, which handles a lot of our Chicago animals that kind of just want a dog or cat. And then we drive some animals up in kind of a trade situation. But yeah, it's a lot of caffeine, some really good tunes, and usually really good co-pilots. I also have several volunteers in Louisiana, all that since these changes of me just having limitations and volunteers, have been able to meet me halfway. So I'm really lucky again to have all these people that do this hard work, just for kind of the love and affection and happy endings that animals get.
Yeah, I had somebody on that is like a pilot for Paws. I'm sorry, I can't remember which organization it is. If you go back a few podcasts ago, he was on and he was brilliant. But occasionally, and I will say almost probably like more than 75% of the time, you are like the link between an animal being safe or being saved to whatever that final destination is, rescue, foster, another, organization. But that's pretty cool. You're the link.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Talking about kind of the limitations of rescues, they don't have staff that can use 6 hours of their day that's done doing 10 different hat wearing activities. So we're really able to get that animal out, get them to a rescue or their next step. And it's an honor. And I hear all the time from rescues like, you got them out 4 days earlier than we could have, or they wouldn't have made it because of how sick they were. And we've been at CACC at 10 p.m. at night pulling cats, especially battle babies. But we really value being kind of that life-saving link. I think when I started, I really kind of downplayed what I did. And the rescuers are like, don't do that. Like we couldn't have gotten this animal to a point that we're at without you. So.
Yeah, I also think, marketing wise, like you have a brilliant name, because it's just, and even when you first started, it was, Uber was around, but like, it's like, it's cool because it's like, it just works. How did you come up with it?
It actually was not me. She's a supporter of Live Like Rue as well. So Melissa Lavilla came up with it. We were literally standing in the cat room loading cats that were going on a transport, and she's like, "You're like a rescue Uber." I shifted it a little so Uber can't sue me, but it was all her. She's also one of our monthly donors, which we really value. So it was all her that came up with that name, and we kind of just ran with it.
I mean, it's perfect. That's what happened with Live Like Rue too. So somebody, commented on him. He was taking like a boat ride or something, and they're like, "We should all live like Rue." And I'm like, holy shit, that's brilliant. Like, and so I send her merch all the time. I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, thank you. Like like it clicked, it's like, oh my God. And honestly, when you can build off of that, it's so cool because you can then make cool merch. You
yep,
have, and yours is like, it's boom, it's there. It's really awesome.
yeah,
Um, for you, because I remember this too, I feel like we almost all start as transporters and then we are like, okay, like I want to help more. So I'm going to go volunteer at animal control. I'm going to do CRISP. I'll show dogs to potential adopters. I'll, do transfer team. But I too also started like transporting really medical emergencies. Like, Joanne Conca, like she would take really rough dogs and I would be like, I need like a siren. Like I need something.
yeah.
But how stressful is it sometimes when you're taking, like, I mean, bottle kittens are a thing. Like they have to get somewhere quickly to be fed.
Yeah, especially with Chicago traffic.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest bane of my existence. I think we do have some kind of like emergency type kits with some like nutritional gel and that kind of stuff that some of the bottle baby experts helped us get on our wish list and people donated, but it's hard. I usually, when it's like super duper bottle babies, I try and find someone that will ride with me just to be able to check on them, because otherwise I'm pulling over because I'm so worried about them. um Back when I was doing like smaller transports, I literally had dogs, including some Roo dogs, that would ride in the front seat with me so I could check if they're breathing and all
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. So it's definitely stressful. It's not a great joke, but I joke that there are 4 rules in the Rescueber van. There's no getting lost, no dying, no making babies, and no having babies. And knock on wood, we've been able to honor that so far. So we've had some close calls, but I think that we've also just had a lot of really great staff that like try and give meds ahead of time if they can, try and find a closer vet if it's something that's super that they're super concerned about. And some of the veterinarian staff have worked with that. A lot of them also happen to be fosters that are at certain veterinary staff. So I think all of that kind of working together, really thinking of the well-being of the animal is best. But one of my favorite transports are just doing like hospice dogs that are going somewhere and I know that their last chapter is not going to be in the shelter, and being able to do that is just such an honor.
Yeah, and so important. I mean, so important. And like that it's really sad, but it is a great, great feeling. And I remember that too. Like, I would be like, because I couldn't put the dog in the front seat and I had to put it in the back and I was just constantly looking at like thinking like this animal cannot die right now. Like it cannot. I'm not going to be, not that I would be the reason, but like that it can't be the last stop, I know that you've transported a pig. Is this like your favorite thing ever?
Several, I think we've done 12 pigs in our existence.
Wow.
So Chicagoland Pig Rescue is, that one was my favorite one. That's Ernie. What is by far such an amazing organization. If you haven't already interviewed them, they would be really cool to talk to. But they are so huge in doing all of the coordinating. So we've picked them up from situations that they have to get out of to go to homes, some that are going down to U of I for vet care. So I think we've done 12. Smaller ones like this cutie are a lot easier and a lot more used to being held and handled and all of that. The bigger pigs that other people kind of know as like farm pigs, but a lot of them don't enjoy being as confined spaces, especially ones that are moving. Uh, so they're a little easier to load. But we get it done. It takes a lot of, we can't use it if they're going to the vet, but if they're just leaving to a different place, a lot of treats, a lot of pig boards. So they're literally plastic boards, and it's a lot different than a dog or cat. I used to be scared of Yorkies. I still kind of am, but pigs are high. And a lot of people don't know their brains are very similar to dogs. Um, so they know how to get around stuff. They don't want to be told what to do, all of that kind of stuff. So it's an experience, but Chicagoland Pig Rescue really kind of educated me and helped me learn how to best handle them to keep them safe, myself safe. And ideally, we really try within transport to make it as stress-free as possible. Not always able to be done, but we try and make it so that they're as comfortable as possible in the ride. Because some of those ones have gone to like Tennessee and sanctuaries that they're in the car with us for a while.
Yeah, I can't imagine. So they're coming on the podcast. I don't know. Somebody tagged them somewhere and I messaged them.
Yeah.
And I had pet pigs growing up, which I think I might have talked to you before about this. But literally, like Boris, he looked just like this. And you know, I grew up. We all know this. I grew up in the middle of Amish country farmland, and our neighbor, who was a farmer when the pot-bellied pig craze was going, had baby pigs. My dad got one. That was like the best pet my dad ever had. I mean, literally, the pig followed my dad around all over. My dad brought the pig in the house. My mom was like, absolutely not. But they're actually like really clean animals. What is the nonprofit that I'm thinking of that had that was actually like a farm pig? Darren and somebody, I can't remember her name right. You know what I mean? The pig, she passed away. But that'll show you like how smart they are. And that pig actually stayed inside. Sorry, I can't remember right now. But my dad then got another female pig and we had baby pigs. Guys, I grew up in the sticks. Okay. It's just how it was. And because of the pot-bellied pig craze at that time, like we sold them for hundreds of dollars, you know. They are really magical pets. I can't wait to tell Chicagoland Pig Rescue about my pet pigs that my dad basically bred. Sorry, that's just how I grew up, guys. But they're magical, and I will tell you that Boris, I came home from college and my dad told me that he was dying, and he actually lived outside. Okay. Yes. Again, I'm a hick at heart. But I went to the house where he lived, which was heated, and I went to say goodbye because he was dying. And my dad said he thinks like he waited to die until I came to say goodbye. Like they have feelings, like they're like really are smarter than dogs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for transporting them to a better life. So I believe you're still paying off the van, right?
Yeah, we have about 10,000, I think.
Okay, so Giving Tuesday, let's get Rachel the van paid off. Rachel, that should be your Giving Tuesday goal. Is that what it's going to be?
That is, I'm meeting with one of our fundraising people that helps us, and we are actually going to be doing some lock-in stuff in the van. So
I saw that.
Like chill in a crate, kind of share stories of how Rescueber has affected their lives in whatever way. Do some fun stuff with some pies, some eating of dog treats with humans. So stay tuned, and we're going to put that as the goal. We're going to go big, to pay off the van. It already has 200,000 miles almost. I think it's 98,000 miles, and we bought it at 28,000 miles. Yeah. So we definitely need it paid off before. We have a very amazing mechanic, so it's in top shape. But even in top shape, those vans kind of last until 300,000. But yeah, so we would.
Wow, so they would last till 300. That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, when they're well taken care of. Like we've always stayed up on our oil changes, our tires, all that. Thanks to donors, we've been able to like really keep it in top shape. And a lot of those miles obviously are highway, so. Yeah, city driving, but even in city, a lot of it's like 55, 294, all of that kind of stuff. So it's not as beat up as if we were doing stop go type stuff.
Yeah, I love it. So future, what are you thinking? I mean, I kind of love, that you're not going so far. I don't have to worry about you on the road. But what is kind of like the ultimate goal? I know that you've talked about a sanctuary as well. But what is mine is getting the van paid off, with which, guys, just go here, rescueber.org, and like donate. Let's get this paid off. I mean, $10,000 we could do that.
We can. Thank you.
Yeah.
So before I figured out Rescueber, I thought about actually having a senior dog rescue. I then watched all of my friends that run rescue literally being on call 24/7. And I was like, my mental health can't do that. But what I've kind of shifted into as kind of a next goal is doing a sanctuary that is foster based. So most of these dogs would be DB Senior Chihuahua Rescue is in Central Illinois. But they do pull a ton out of Chicago Animal Care and Control. Some days clearing the small kennels of very medically complex dogs. I know Live Like Rue has even helped them with several. My dog Raz was one of my hospice dogs. So just that experience with them, I would love to have like a little ranch or a little even trailer so that we can kind of go to CACC, clear those dogs out. She is an amazing veterinarian that works with them. So that, and then in addition to having those small senior dogs, helping Chicagoland Pig Rescue, so having a little bit of land, and also ringworm cats, since those are very highly euthanized in shelter. So we were really inspired. I actually went to sanctuary school at Best Friends, and we were really inspired to kind of create something that could be a landing spot. And some of those medical dogs might be hospice and stay with us forever, and some may get adopted. So hopefully there's it's a temporary landing spot for them, for most of them. But it's, again, getting them out of the shelter as fast as possible with access to medical care and their next chapter, whether that's an adoptive home, staying with us for hospice, or anything else. And then next level, we would love to have a little ISO house that would then take CACC dogs, the bigger ones that need just isolation. So 2 weeks due to respiratory stuff, maybe ringworm if it was going to then stay with us longer. It's something that I, as a nurse, am not at all afraid of. So, but something that helps that too. So really, and I've also now fallen in love with small animals. So I'm like, and we also need a small animal one. It's going to start as senior, smaller dogs, and kind of we'll see where it goes from there. But really focusing on Chicago Animal Care and Control for the most part, and trying to pull those animals that really need out.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, like sanctuary dogs have my heart. So Herman is from Young at Heart Sanctuary. You transported him. And, they pay for everything for us. He just went to the cardiologist yesterday. His heart looks good. Like, I love that. I think, that's like the smart way to do it is have somebody house these animals. And, if your nonprofit / sanctuary can help them with the medical bills, like, and they're housing them, that's like the way to go. You don't even need like a brick and mortar sanctuary. It's brilliant, honestly.
Yeah. It's really hard because in DB's situation, it's not even medical bills as much that are holding her up. It's that she doesn't have enough people.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, well, then I'm going to become a person. Smaller dogs are just kind of easier to put in places. I think you taught me that with Cheese. So I think that it's a lot easier to do like X-pens and rotating and all of that kind of stuff when they're smaller, even if there are a ton of medical things. And then I have amazing people. One of our board members is a vet tech. We have someone that's a groomer that has said that they'll come help. So we have all these people too that would volunteer their time.
I love that.
So yeah, first is paying off the van, and then next is kind of starting to look at some properties and seeing what we can do with that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, let's get this van paid off. The Rescueber van. Look at it. Here it is. Let's pay this thing off. You've had this since 2019 too, the actual van?
20, when did the pandemic hit?
2020.
Yeah, we got it.
You got it. I see. You got it.
2020.
Yeah. May 2020. I'm looking at your timeline on your website. It's brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
I can see it all there.
Yeah.
Awesome, Rachel. Thank you. I mean, this was worth the wait, right?
100%.
All right. Say hi to your dogs back there. Isn't that my boy back there?
That's Frankie. Yeah.
Hi, Frankie.
Frankie was a ride as well.
Oh, look at those ears, buddy. Look at those ears.
He's not a Chicago Chihuahua, so we still need one Chicago Chihuahua, but
oh, that's all right. All good.
It's a lot of fosters, which is what we kind of needed after Harold's reign.
Yeah, I know. All right, Rachel, thank you so much. Great to chat with you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Perfect. Tell Steve I said happy birthday.
I will. Rachel Berger, everybody.
The
Rescueber. She does amazing work and has transported a bunch of our pets, which is pretty cool. Supporting sponsors. Thank you.
Thank you to the following supporting sponsors. Kimberly Kingen Photography. Give the gift of joy this holiday season and memorable moments of furry loved ones with a gift card for Kimberly Kingen Photography. For more details, visit her website at www.kimberlykingen.com. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they are dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief and extended mobility to your furry friends this holiday season. They offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thecaninepT.com. Anything is Possible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every single stage of your dog's life. They have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement.
Thank you, Rachel from Rescueber. I really appreciate it. I'm Sarah Locke, your host. Thank you for listening and watching Unmuzzled. I'll see you next time.